folks at Duke, Machado, Lexit, USA, StrikeForce, and so glad you're with us today. We've got some guests on tonight, some of our best performers, people you know and some you don't know. We've got Darlene Brienza in New York. We've got Brenda Black in New York. And then our newest volunteer working hard right now in California, Dennis Salazar. Hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what we've got going on, what the Lexit USA StrikeForce is doing, kind of how we operate. I'm going to let them kind of give you some experiences that they're having making calls right now into Texas. And then we're going to talk politics. So I'll get this kicked off. I'm going to put pressure on the new guy, Dennis Salazar, retired LA Sheriff's Department, 32 years. LA County Sheriff's Department. Dennis, thank you for being on with us today. One thing you said is when you noticed that the voters in Texas and the voters in California are different. Why don't you elaborate on that?
Oh, it's funny. Even when so in California, you get a lot of mixed reactions, and if somebody doesn't want to talk to you, they're pretty abrupt and can be, a little rude. Every once in a while, you get a nice person, but for the most part, that since I've been calling in Texas, I'll get an explanation as to why they don't want to talk to me, and I'm really not used to that. I'm used to that why are you calling me or whatever, some sort of negative thing, or don't ever call me again, or how'd you get my number, or take me off your call list, and all those things are fine, but I just expect a little bit more, negativity from someone who's not interested in what I have to say. But there's definitely a hospitality. I do have family in San Antonio, so I'm not completely surprised because they're also very, very sweet people. But it is interesting to see. There's just a different more civility. And
I think the way you put it, you said people in Texas are just nicer.
They're just nicer. They're just nice.
I don't like that.
I think from my experience too, at least all I've ever really been to is Westchester County, but people are really nicer in New York even than California.
Yeah, well, we got to say that because we got two people on from New York or we'll get in trouble.
And they both look like they can beat me up. So
yeah. All right, so we're gonna save Darlene for last year, but Brenda. So Brenda, you've dialed into a few campaigns now. Using the new resources that we have with collaboration with the RNC. Is it pretty user friendly?
It's very user friendly, and the system that we used before wasn't difficult either, but this one is definitely much easier. It's faster. The layout is easier on the eye. Mm-hmm. I am a little dyslexic, so sometimes these things are difficult for me to maneuver, and it takes me a while to catch on, but this was very easy for me. And I find it really efficient. And that's important to me because I am volunteering my time. So I don't want to be wasting my time. And also the mission is important to me. So I don't want to be wasting my time. That's my cat knocking over a bell.
Your cat's trying to mess with your lighting. Well, it's when you came on board, I know that you and Darlene were talking a lot, and Darlene is our number one, our top performer, our superstar, Lexit USA StrikeForce. If we had an award, you've won awards already, but
you're so
you're so awesome.
Because I ran it.
When Darlene has made a decision to engage, it's a game over. That's all I have to say. Darlene, share some of your thoughts.
Well, as you know, Brenda and Dennis, but Duke knows, I came on board about a year ago, a little bit less than last October, right before the presidential election. And I saw something about Lexit, and I wanted to do something, like probably you both did, and said, okay, what can I do? I'm here in New York, the deep blue state. Where can I have an impact? And that's how I met Duke and got involved in Calling Texas. And I loved it. It just was, the people were really nice, not that many hangups. It's like Dennis said. I thought, wow, people in Texas are nice. And then from there, I did a couple of smaller campaigns in Austin.
The Mackenzie Kelly race was big for us.
It was really
for city
big,
council
really
in Austin.
Right after the presidential election.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to have that win. We were all like still really down about what happened in November. And then we had a chance to do something in Austin, which is, a pretty liberal city. And, to help someone who was the first conservative get elected to Austin City Council. And she was awesome, and our campaign manager. So we got to meet, and it was really rewarding. And so that's how I came in.
Well, and that's the thing about what we're doing is we're trying to give our members, our people who want to volunteer, the tools and resources to engage right now. You don't have to wait. There's all sorts of things that the Lexit USA StrikeForce is involved with. One of the things that's coming up.
If I could say, to anyone who is watching who would be interested in volunteering, one of the things that I do is I just commit to 10 minutes a day. And then if I have more time, I will do more time. And you can actually do a lot in 10 minutes. And even if you just reach one person, that could be that one vote, or that person could be the person who talks to their family and it turns into 8 votes because their family talks to their friends and so and so. So it can, if you're interested, not if you care, because we all care, and it's easy to care and it's hard maybe to have time or to commit or whatever. But if you could just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to try this and do 10 minutes a day or even 10 minutes a week when they have a campaign, and it can help. Because say you get 100 or like 10 of your friends to do 10 minutes a day once a week. That's like 10 minutes in the week, and that's an hour of calls, and that can be a lot. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to say that because that's something that I do, and that helps me. And like I said, if I have more time, I'll do it. But just doing, and then there is a satisfaction to it because I do care, and we have to do something. We have to participate in what's going on.
And that's well said, because there's a lot of people who are frustrated right now. Lord knows we see what's happening on the border. We see what's happening with all the mandates and the vaccine mandates in New York, California. San Francisco airport just made an announcement that everyone must be vaccinated. I know that these mandatory vaccines are getting real close to all of us here.
So does that mean if you go to California and you're not vaccinated, they won't let you off the plane?
I don't know about that, but San Francisco airport, every employee, including every peripheral company that's associated with the airport, transport, food services, all these other companies, they all have to have a vaccine or they can't work. For that airport.
No option for like weekly testing, daily testing.
I'm not sure. I'm maybe there's a way out, but the fact is,
not always. I mean, my daughter.
Not always. You're right.
She's going through the same exact thing in corporate America. She's a recent college grad, great job, corporate America, and it's get vaxxed or be terminated, and she's really upset.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's insane. A young, healthy 23-year-old being forced to be vaccinated for basically for her job.
And these are because leaders, people most of the time elected positions, impose these mandates. And, the only way to change it is to get them out of office. The only way to get them out of office is to get someone to run against them. And for so long here, Latinos and the minorities have just voted for Democrats. We have to change that whole cycle of the way Latinos think, that we cannot listen to the empty promises of the Democrat Party. They've been leading Latinos down the wrong path for decades. And just now, look at the border, look what's going on. Look what the Biden administration did with Afghanistan and all what he's done and how he makes us look across the world. In California, Dennis, you're 33-year retired LA Sheriff's Department. Um, tell me what Californians are dealing with right now regard to crime, illegal immigration, things like that.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's huge. I mean, I think a lot of people are that you have a kind of a weird, strange thing going on. You have these people who are oblivious. So one of the things we suffer from in California, and I tell this to people all the time, we suffer from the curse of prosperity. Okay. We have great weather, and we have the social program. So they catch you if you're someone who's an entrepreneur or someone who does well in your profession, then you do pretty well. We make pretty good money overall, right? Everybody's paid pretty well. But then if you're on the other side of the spectrum, you're being taken care of by the government, and so it just kind of runs the gamut. But I have more and more people that are asking me questions, like more people that I know personally who are just regular people saying, "Hey, how do I go about getting a CCW now?" It's funny because I tell people, there's a lot of questions that come with carrying a concealed weapon, right?
Not to say what's a CCW.
Yeah, that's why I clarified. Yeah, concealed weapons permit, basically to carry a firearm concealed. And they're becoming more common, at least in LA County, for people to get. They're a little easier to get, and it's because our DA is corrupt. Gascon, he basically said everything's not a crime. Letting people out, violent offenders, and so on and so forth. So in one aspect, if you're paying attention, it's kind of like the Wild West, right? But then there's other people who are walking around oblivious to the whole thing, right? Then you have those people who it's just business as usual, that's their reality. But if you go down to places, it just goes in so many different directions. If you go downtown LA, I give it just a real quick story. My son played football in high school. And one day we were going to play, and you've all probably heard of South Central LA, right? I mean, it comes up on some sort of newscast, whatever. So we had a football game in South Central LA. We're driving through downtown LA to get to South Central LA, and we get off the freeway. We have a foreign exchange student with us from China, and so we passed this one area of downtown LA. There's homeless encampments that are basically tarps and tents and old RVs that are just that they don't run anymore. They're parked on the side of the streets. You've all probably seen videos of this.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely true. They're absolutely true. Downtown LA was on a like they were rebuilding it, making it better, making it beautiful. I mean, it was like really, really going to be really nice. And then we just lost sight of it. In fact, they think that the next bubonic plague outbreak will start in downtown LA. That's how bad it's gotten. But the trash is piled, 9 or 10 feet high. These people are living within it. And this foreign exchange student looks out the window and he says, "Are we still in America?"
Mm.
And I just said, "Yeah, you're in LA."
So
and
is everyone depressed right now in California? Are all conservatives just throwing their hands up? Like, what are we going to do here?
You know what? There's another reason why we're having a mass exodus. But I'm going to tell you something about our mass exodus. The overwhelming majority of people I know that are leaving and fleeing to Texas or Tennessee or Arizona or wherever it is, Idaho, wherever they're going, are all conservatives, right? Because we're sick of it. And I can't, we talk about, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't want to lose any credibility. But I'm convinced we haven't had a fair election in decades. And one of the things is, if you know Gavin Newsom's background, he destroyed San Francisco when he was mayor there. Then he manages to become the governor of California. I mean, it just doesn't. I mean, and I don't. And it's like I don't know anybody that voted for him. When he ran, I don't know. I know that the movement to recall him this last vote that we had. I mean, it had a strong backing, and even if he did win, he didn't win by as much as they say he did. But then,
that's what I'm hearing, and I was wondering about that. If I could interject for a moment, is I was going to ask if you thought that it was legit or not, because I do feel there are a lot of liberals there who support him, or even the people who are moderate still are kind of under that spell. So.
Well, Well,
what I'm hearing is that people are saying, people who I've asked, a handful of people, that what you just said, that they believe he would have won, but not by the margin that he did, and that some fishiness was going on. And I have to say, I agree with you that I hadn't thought about it before, but now I feel very suspicious about all the past elections. I really feel very suspicious, and I think that I think of the philosophy of, you lied to me once, you deceived me, makes me, like, once you break trust, it makes you question everything. And I think trust has been broken in the last election.
I hate to go down that path. I think it's a very dangerous path to go down. But I do have my suspicions. But the other thing is that what's even more frustrating is that rather than for him to go, there's a lot of people here who are very unhappy. I want to try to save my state. He immediately had a press conference to confirm his leftist agenda. And this is what you're telling me that you chose, California. This is what you voted for. And
I also saw videos where he seems very angry at Californians. Instead of saying, you know what, to everyone here, I want to do the best for you. I love you. I love the state. I love the country. He seemed angry.
Yeah, that's the whole Democrat. They're all the same. Andrew Cuomo in New York was the same way.
Yes, he was like that.
They're not out for the greater good. That's not what they want to do. So to me, there was your chance in California, to get rid of this guy, and he survives. So it's mind-boggling.
Well, the worst aspect of it, though, is what I was trying to get across is that now he's punitive, right? Now he's going to punish those of us who don't agree with that leftist agenda, and I have friends who they headed up the recall Newsom signing events and everything else, and they're like, we had to turn all that into the government, and I fear, and they're all business people, and they're going, I fear he's going to come gunning for me now. Right.
And that's to turn in.
And that's they had to turn in that they're legitimate people that are behind this, and they're actually getting real signatures and so on and so forth.
Okay, right.
And so now they have their information, and they're entrepreneurs, they're business owners, and they're saying, you know what, I fear now that he's going to come gunning for me. And I don't think they're wrong, And so I think when people are leaving California, it's that they're convinced that that their state hates them, right?
And that there's no turning it around, that there's no hope to save it. So I want to use that, and I want to kind of transition a little bit into New York and New Jersey. So I've been hearing that the Latino vote, that the Latinos in New York and New Jersey there's more conservatives coming out. There's more Latinos starting to organize. And that all we need now is to start working in these states, to start doing what we're doing now, and like in Texas, for example, doing this in New York, New Jersey. Do you all? I'm talking to Brenda and Darlene. Feel like there could be a core group of people that would dedicate themselves to certain elections, and what kind of elections would we be looking at? What kind of work needs to be done to cultivate those voters? How do y'all see it on the ground?
Now, are you referring to like 2022,
Yes.
Because I think something like that's more doable in a state like New York, which is blue. I live in Westchester County. It's also blue. You go out to Long Island, you go upstate New York, and that's where it starts. That's where it's red, in what I've seen over the last 4 years. Unfortunately, I live in a small town that's liberal. It's not diverse, so I know how the people are here, but yet, you go outside of the area, and there's more conservatives than you would think in New York. That, I think I have many friends who are, that think the way I do, and say, like, what can we do every day? Like, I'm in group chats with friends, and we're sending each other things from what's going on for the day, like just frustration. My daughters send me messages, like, even we're under the same roof, they're working, and they'll see something, like they'll see someone, and they'll, like Donald Trump Jr., and they'll send it to me, like, look at this, read this, like at 8 o'clock in the morning. I get on my phone, I have like 20 things, and this is all people who feel the way we do. And it's like, I know there's more of us here than, what the news or what the media portrays.
So that's,
I would echo that and say, in Manhattan, I'm outnumbered as far as being a conservative. I think in the outer boroughs, Queens, some areas of Brooklyn, the Bronx, there are more conservative. And I think that there are also Democrats who actually have conservative values, but for some reason they think that the Republican or the conservative candidates don't represent them because they've just been voting Democrat for so long, and they're brainwashed into believing, as I was at one time, because I'm a person who got red pilled. I'm a person who had TDS. When Trump was elected, I was crying. I thought he was that Mike Pence was gonna electrocute all my gay friends. I thought he was gonna nuke California. And then through the glory of God and through the grace of God, I started to see that I was being delusional, and that everything that I was accusing the Republicans of being, which was closed-minded, bigoted, racist, obnoxious, I was doing all those things. I was judging all the Republicans. I was judging everybody. I was like, oh, Republicans are all racist, blah, blah, blah. And when I actually got to talk to Republicans, which that's another thing that red pilled me, is they would talk to me. Whereas my Democrat friends, if I tried to ask questions, would get angry at me. Back to that anger. But I do want to say that I don't want to paint all Democrats with a broad brush the way that I used to do with Republicans. We still have to stay open-minded, and I would like to think that when I was in that spell of democracy and feminism and leftism that's a little bit too extreme, I don't think that I was a bad person. I was just misguided.
Right.
So, and I think that ultimately we have to reach out to those people, especially in New York. And I think a lot of them do have the same values that us on this call and conservatives have. But if we hit at them, they just get offended. Because if you had come at me, I just was like, no, don't talk to me. But then if you just, through example, and then I just watched you and listened, I came over to the good side. If that makes sense.
Yes.
But I think there are more in New York than I think a lot of people are afraid to speak out. I think people are being less afraid to speak. And I think when they see other people speaking out, it gives them their courage to speak out. And I think in the Latino community in particular, that we are Republicans and don't know it.
I agree.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
So many of them don't know it. Like, we had someone that was working in our home, and my husband was born in Argentina. He's not first generation. Like, he's an immigrant, and this guy came from Uruguay years ago, and we brought up something, and he was like, Trump, all this bad talk, and we're trying to, like, okay, let's break this down. And he had nothing. It was just whatever he was seeing on TV is what he was mimicking. And he didn't know about the border. This was, I want to say, maybe in the spring, when the border crisis was going on already. And so many different things we brought up to him. And he was like, really? He had no idea, because he's watching, Univision maybe.
And they're being lied to. They're being lied to. Everything is a lie. And
he didn't know anything. So it was like eye-opening. And it's like, how many more people like this guy who's really a conservative at heart, just doesn't know it because he's being told that's bad. Like you can't be like them. They're, bad people. They're racist. You're not a racist.
Right.
And he was confused, and it was really.
Can I just say that, can we admit as Latinos, for other Latinos watching this, and if you are not from the Latino community, there's racism in Latinos, okay?
Hold on. I need to jump in. I will say this, and I say this to everybody all the time, and I've yet to have one. Well, I'm Mexican, so I mostly talk to Mexicans, but I would say I've yet to have one Mexican tell me it's not true. The biggest racists I know are Mexicans and blacks. I'm sorry, they say you can't be. They're like, but I mean, I've heard things growing up my entire life. I've seen things my entire life, and I just sit there and go. I tell people all the time, when I was a kid, I was trying to study, and I was trying to read, and friends and family would say to me, why are you doing that? Why you study? The white man's not going to let you do anything. White man's not going to let you get a job. What do you think you're going to do? And then I had, and when I got into high school, I had cousins tell me, like, what are you doing? Why are you studying? What, you want to go to college? Why? So you can be white? And I said, what does that even mean? How does that even make sense to you? Like, that's racist. But you know what I never had? I had Mexicans tell my whole life, you can't do anything. And I never had a white person do anything but encourage me and help me. Never. And I just kind of look at that and I say, we're our own worst, and we're like crabs in a bucket. If you put 10 crabs in a bucket today, they'll die there because they'll pull each other down before one of them can get out and do better. Right? That's what we do. And I hate to see it. It is so disheartening to me, and it is so infuriating to me. And I used to tell these people this, like, what are you doing? And that's why I told my kids, I'm like, you need to work hard. You go out, you study hard, you earn your place at the table, and you show everybody you deserve to be there, and you take their lunch money. You show them. They can underestimate you all. People underestimated me my whole life. I love it. I love being underestimated. I'm going to get you every time. And this is what I try to tell. I try to tell other Mexicans, like, man, no, you have so much opportunity. Stop dragging the race down. We're dragging ourselves down. Nobody has to do that for us. White people aren't trying to do it. They have never tried to do it. So
maybe there was a time when white people collectively were a little more racist, but I think they've grown. That's the thing about America that's great, is because every country has a effed up history. Okay, there's no country, there's no nation in the world.
Well, things were brutal at one point. I mean,
but we're growing and learning, and we've evolved.
Listen, I'm 59 years old. Okay, this is my experience in my whole life, that I've only had people trying to help me and better me and help me to achieve things that I wanted to achieve. Like I said, my biggest oppressors looked exactly like me, right? That's all I'm going to say.
In my life, even I've the most racism I've experienced has been from fellow Latinos. They've been the worst to me. And I'm not, but that doesn't make me hate Latinos. I think that they're all like that. But that's the truth. The truth is, I've had to think, oh, you're too white because my Spanish is not good.
Oh my
God!
God!
Oh, you think you're better? Like, who do you think you are? Like, I think I'm a Puerto Rican American, and I love Puerto Rico. Like, why are you being mean to me?
Yeah.
What equalizes all of us, and what is a level playing field, is our capitalist system, and where we can wake up tomorrow and decide to start a new business or to create a new item that everyone needs.
Exactly.
Entrepreneurial spirit, chasing the American dream, raising your family, doing these things. When a fellow American sees another fellow American, or even an immigrant, but someone who's here legally, and they see them working, busting their rear end, doing all the things it takes to try to reach their American dream, they get nothing but love from others. We're not trying to push people down. The Republican Party's not trying to keep this from people. We're trying to share, to grow the idea that you can achieve what you want. And you know what we're doing with this Lexit USA Strike Force is kind of that we're putting faith into this effort that we're building. You, Darlene, and Brenda, Dennis, we got lots of other people dialing right now into this campaign. Y'all are the fabric. You're the backbone of what we're trying to accomplish here. This collaboration with the RNC, all of our data, everything we do is tracked. There's people block walking in Adam Salyer's campaign in San Antonio that have access to data and tools that they didn't have 2 weeks ago. The calls that we're making, they weren't making these calls 2 weeks ago. And so to me, when I look at what we are putting together, what we've been building for the past year or so, I'm just proud of you. I'm proud of those who take that initiative and do more. You know, it takes more. So we have to do more. It's later out there in New York. So you're up late right now, and I thank you for being up late. And, you know, we just have to grow and continue growing our group. You can go to our website, LexitStrikeForce.org, LexitStrikeForce.org, and there's a tab where you can just sign up. It's really easy to do. And I'll give you a call personally. Isn't that right? Did I call every one of you? Yes. I will call you personally, and we'll get the ball rolling. I'll give you each a last word. Darlene, go.
I mean, I want to go back to something that Brenda said earlier, which really, you know, brings it home, so to speak, when people are coming and signing on and think, this is so great, but I don't have time. You know, I'm working, my kids, I have 100 things to do. 10 minutes a day, especially with the system that we have now, you know, the RNC has provided for us, you know, 10 minutes on Power Dialer is a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know, you think, oh, I can't, but 15 minutes a day, you just jump on, like you come home, you know what, let me make some calls. It makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, for those that think, oh, I want to do this, but, you know, I have 50 other things to do, which we're all busy, you can make an impact for
mm-hmm.
sure.
And we can sign you up. We'll get your username and password immediately.
And it's user friendly. This
mm-hmm.
is a very easy system to navigate.
Good. Brenda.
Yes, it's really easy. And, you know, even that 15 minutes, you could break it up into 5 minutes, you know, throughout the day. I've done that myself where I did 10 minutes and then I found myself having another 10 minutes waiting for my egg to boil. And I literally, and I, you know, I set the timer for the 10 minutes for my boiled egg and I made 10 minutes of calls. And I sort of feel, hearing myself talk, I feel like I'm in infomercial, but I'm serious. It's really easy. And it really makes a difference. And Adam, I don't want to butcher his last name when you say it, Adam, who we're making calls for right now.
Adam Salyer, yeah.
You know, in one of his videos that I watched, he said something that really made me want to make calls for him even more. And I think this could apply to everybody who's watching it. He said, this is a chance for you to help thousands of people. This is a chance for you to make a difference. And just by making a couple of calls a day, even 10 minutes a week, those 10 minutes of calls you make could be the calls that tip an election. So, and I just want to say, God bless you all watching. God bless America. And God bless everyone on this call. And thank you, Duke, for everything you're doing.
Awesome, Brenda. Dennis, the new guy.
So, you know, if anybody is familiar with California politics, which you're probably not, but I was telling Duke earlier, it does make a difference. You're both right, ladies. We flipped a seat. We had a seat flipped from a Republican seat, California District 25. It was held by Steve Knight. He got beat out by Katie Hill. If you Google that, she was involved in some sex scandal. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but she got kicked out. The seat went to Christy Smith. She was pretty much entrenched. It's hard to flip those seats. We flipped that seat back to a Republican in the last election. Mike Garcia is now our congressman in California District 25. So it really does make a difference. And really, it's always a grassroots effort that gets it done. We really got to do, I love the Lexit movement. I love the philosophy behind it. I love the fact that I can even be involved in on a different level across the country, because we really got to change the way we see this amazing experiment that we live under in the United States. And I am so just so thankful that God has placed me here, and I can tell you, you apply yourself, anything's possible. But you need to get involved, and that's what we need to do. And I'm so thankful that I got that call from you, Duke, that inviting me to get on board, because I've been chomping at the bit to get involved with Lexit since I first heard about you, and I didn't really know how to do it. But now that I'm here, yeah, just let me know what you need, and I'm gonna definitely show. I'm gonna overtake Darlene.
It's on.
Hey, you just messed up.
The
You shouldn't have
champion
signaled that. You
No,
should have
that's
done
okay.
that.
No,
You
I
should have
love
done
it.
that
It's
secretly.
a great team.
Yeah.
Like a strong team. I think it's awesome.
All right, folks. Hey, look,
Dennis.
there's several others who've been part of our journey, and we thank you all. David Torres, we know that you're super busy right now, but man, we got a lot of love for you, because you're
He's
a
awesome.
superstar as well. Lots of people who have been involved. Thank you all. We appreciate you watching this program. Go to our website, lexitstrikeforce.org, and sign up today. Let's get the ball rolling. A lot of things happening. Maybe even in a race in your area soon. So call us. That's what happens. I get phone calls from people, and they ask if we can help in a particular race. Just find us, send us an email, contact us somehow, and we'll reach out to try to help do what we can. So my name's Duke Machado, the director of the Lexit USA Strike Force, and we appreciate your time. We're out of here.